Hey class, so today we're gonna work on a op art project. So this is the end result. Notice how the hand kind of comes off the page and we're just using line. So with op art, it's all about an illusion, an optical illusion that tricks the eye. So for this project first, we're gonna outline our hand. I'm taking my time and I'm drawing pretty lightly because I'm gonna erase my hand when I'm finished, okay? So that's kind of like where your hand, kind of like an estimate of like your hand and how you kind of want to start. After you have your hand drawn, we're going to, first you need, the materials you need to start with is you need 2 markers, with your choice of markers. You can use markers or color pencils, a pencil and an eraser, okay? So I've already started by drawing my hand. Next, I'm going to start by, so everything in the background is going to be outlined. It's going to be a straight line, and everything inside the hand is going to be curved. So I'm going to give you an example of that. So I'm going to start with a line here, and then I'm going to make the line curve like this, and then it's going to go back to a straight line like this. All right, I'm going to give you another example. Line, curve, line. All right, so I'm going to continue this throughout. Line, curve, line, line, curve, line. So everything in the hand is going to be curved. This is what's going to make your hand feel like it's actually 3D instead of 2D. And if you want to put even more lines in here, you can. You can space out the lines however much you want. So if I wanted to space it out even more, I could. I do recommend you probably starting with the big space gap and then going back inside if you want and filling up the lines. So notice how in the background I have straight lines and in the hand I have curved lines. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start with marker just because I've done this before, but I suggest you do all pencil first so you can erase if you make a mistake. But I'm gonna do marker for time's sake or whatever, just so we can kind of get through the video. All right. Oh, but first, actually I can do this. Let me show you. So I'm gonna start with one color. Notice how this has one color, like it has purple, then it has orange, and then it has purple, then orange. So the color kind of like rotates, so you have, it's like a pattern, it switches. So I'm gonna skip every other line, and I'm gonna do an orange. Okay, skipping. So I skip, if you notice, I skip this line and this line because I'm gonna go back with the second color I picked and I'm gonna do purple, okay? If you want, like I said, I suggest you put more space than you think you need. All right, so. I'm just going in, filling in these pencil lines, and this is op art. Op art is really fun because it can be seen as really cool to people. It's a such thing as called street op art, to where, have you ever seen the art on the side of the sidewalk and it looks like it's real? So like, have you ever seen in New York, they might have something like, it might be like a bridge or something, with the cliff in the middle of the sidewalk, and it makes it seem like if you walk on that bridge, then you're gonna, if you go on the cliff, you're gonna fall off. But it's not, because that doesn't exist. So if you notice, I'm going back inside of these gaps and I'm filling up the gaps with more lines. But that's not the first priority. The first priority is you going ahead and starting to make sure every part of your hand has a line. So straight line in the background, curved line in the hand. This is a really simple project if you follow along and follow directions. So I'm just going in here and I'm filling up more space in here with the spaces that kind of have more lines. You can put little bitty lines in between here to kind of make it look more interesting. Because if you notice how some of these spaces are really tight, I just went back in. I started with one color with a bunch of spaces, and then I went back in and added purple. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue to do right here. Straight line. Skip a big space. So notice how this is a curve, but when it hits the fingers, it gets a little tricky. So this part is curved, straight, curve, straight, curved, straight, curve, straight. And I'm just gonna continue to do this. I think the easiest way to start is by making sure that when you start to, see, I just made a boo-boo, but that's okay because we all make mistakes. So after you start with pencil, you go through it with one color first. Like you see how I kind of went with one color first throughout the whole composition. And then I'm starting to add more colors in here. So I'm kind of rushing along to kind of meet the time, but I want you guys to take your time. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna go back inside of here with the orange. You see how I'm going back in here and filling up the spaces here? It looks more interesting if you make the lines a little bit tighter. And let's say you make a mistake and you put two purples. Let's say instead of orange, I put two purples here. I could just, in between this purple line, I could just put an orange line right quick, and that should fit, and that will fix the pattern. So it's not gonna be perfect. I've made several mistakes in here already. But if the more you take your time and you make sure that you're taking your time and you're making sure that each line has a different color, then it'll turn out really good. Okay? I want to show you one more thing before I go with this video. So after you finish outlining, not outlining, but after you finish adding two colors, going over your pencils with markers, you're going to erase the contours of your hand. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about in just 1 second, okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about in just 1 second. Bear with me. Okay, I think that's good enough. I just wanted to go ahead and show you what a finished one would look like. All right. So first off, we have 2 things here. So we have each line in between here. So rotate, the color rotates. So you have purple, orange, purple, orange, purple, orange, purple, orange. If that doesn't happen for your hand, then that means you did something wrong. You need to go back and fix it. Okay? So what we're gonna do next is I'm gonna go back in here with an eraser and erase the sides of my hand. Okay? So any lines where there might have been pencil, I'm gonna erase that because I don't want the pencil to show through when I'm finished, okay? So I'm gonna erase the side contours. Do you remember how when the first thing we did was we got a pencil and we drew the side of our hand? We're gonna erase that because now that we have the middle part of our hand kind of like already drawn, we don't need that part anymore. And since we drew the curved part in our hand, notice how it looks 3D and it comes off the page. All right, see, that is what it's gonna look like when it's finished. So this is actually a finished example here. Notice how my hand kind of comes off the page when it doesn't have any contours anymore. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next week, and hopefully I'm so excited to see how these projects turn out. Bye-bye.